Hey everyone, Chloe here, and welcome back to this feminine platform, and welcome back to my channel. And if you are a new subscriber to this channel, hello and hi and welcome. So this case study video of what has now become a social media phenomenon of women, which is turning the camera on and publicly venting, has been sent to me by so many of you, and I thought it would make for both a case study and a cautionary tale on what it really means to be a casualty of 50-50 and what it means when a woman gets caught up in the very painful trap of the sunken cost fallacy. Now, this feminine platform will always advocate and endorse marriage with the exception of hypogamy, and will always advocate for a hypergamous dynamic in marriage whenever possible. And this is especially because of case studies such as the one that you are about to see. Now, a lot of women are quietly or secretly grinding it out in 50-50 situationships, and a lot of them are ear hustling on this channel, and they are in marriages where they are helping their partners to pay half of the bills because they want so bad to be loved, and they have been groomed to impress men and, dare I say, other masculinas with their hyper independence, and they have been groomed into the concept of fairness and wanting to be financially fair to their men without realizing that they are the ones who are typically getting the shorter end of the stick, especially when they aren't married, and especially when they are with men who require them to fully tap into their masculine to help them pay bills while their femininity and their soft power suffers. And by the way, if you are in a 50-50 marriage and you love your man and you love to work just as hard as your man, and you have lots of feminine soft energy and lots of vitality and leisure, then more power to you. But best believe you are an anomaly, and you are most definitely an exception to the rule and not a standard. And for the men who say, I make less money than my wife and we are happily married, ask your wife if she is happy making more money than you. You might be surprised at the amount of resentment and bitterness that your wife is sitting on. But there are other very damaging aspects of when a woman pays 50-50 that are often not talked about, as women are sharing notes and they are becoming more and more aware of the real cost of relationship labor. Working women are almost always exhausted, and they are almost always responsible for all of the cooking and the cleaning and the child rearing when they are with men and are paying 50-50, making 50-50 a very unappealing raw deal. But 50-50 is also very stripping to the traditional order that a lot of confused and sometimes weak men are always crying about wanting, because a lot of men in their spirit of confusion want 100% of the respect and the masculine admiration of a traditional marriage, while also needing their women to go half on bills in order for them to survive. And this very defective and very faulty mindset alone in confused men who lack leadership skills causes a lot of resentment and unhappiness in women, because she is often doing 3, 4, 5, sometimes 6 jobs, taking care of the home, her man, and her children, and in many cases with Black women, her extended relatives, which in the long run will cause her to burn out at both ends of the candlestick and will cause her femininity to be completely shut down and suppressed, because she is required to tap into her masculine to be her man's financial helpmate. 50-50 also damages polarity. And for those of you who don't know what polarity is the amount of masculinity and femininity that a relationship will need for both partners to be romantically and sexually attracted to each other. And 50-50 relationships tend to struggle most with polarity, especially when the fantasy of the honeymoon period is over. When the polarity is off and when the wife is burnt out, these are the main reasons why divorce is so common and why most romantic relationships will often implode once the fantasy of the honeymoon is over. These are the main reasons why women tend to file for divorce first, and why most romantic relationships will often implode once the fantasy of the honeymoon period is over. Because most women and wives, not you special snowflakes, are hypergamous by nature and will need their husbands on some level to be their heroes, especially after the children come. So nevertheless, let's get to this case study cautionary tale, and I will be back with the rest of my commentary.
If my boyfriend asks me to marry him, I'm going to say no. Why am I going to say no? Because we started dating 5 years ago, and then a month after we started dating, his friend started dating his girlfriend. and they had a kid after 2 years of being together. We had our daughter after 4 years of being together. His friend pays all the bills in their home. We pay 50-50. His friend got engaged last year, and we haven't gotten engaged. His friend got married this past weekend. And the crazy thing is that when we started talking, he said, if we last a year, I'd like to get married and try for a baby. So a year came by, nothing. Then he said, well, maybe after 3 years, let's look at it like a lease payment. You get 3 years. 3 years came by, nothing. And then he said, maybe 5. 5 is a big deal. Bet. 5 came, nothing. So I got tired of dropping hints. Got tired of sending ring photos. And I was just hoping that it would happen. So he goes to his friend's wedding this weekend. And I'm hoping that it would be a motivator. But to be honest, at this point, I don't even care. Like, I really don't care. Like, the magic of the idea of how he would propose and all of that, it's like, if you had that much doubt about marrying me, now I have these doubts. Like, why? What do you need? What's not enough? Shoot, I know I'm enough. You're not about to make me feel insecure. So he says, well, I made you the mother of my first and only child, and that should be good enough, because that's a big deal. That's forever. And yeah, it's a big deal. That's forever. But like, damn, I'm good enough to be your baby mama, but I'm not good enough to be your wife. So at this point, I'm like, if he proposes, I'm going to say no. Why? Because if it took him so long and he had so many doubts, he thinks it's all under his control, his power. Like, when I feel like it, that's when I'm going to propose and she's going to say yes. No. I have some say too. And I can say no. Just because you propose doesn't mean I'm going to say yes. Like, for me to say yes, he's going to have to pull off a really, really, really nice proposal. Like, something super romantic. Like, Backstreet Boys in the background. Flower petals. Pink flower petals. Maybe a violinist on the beach. Or in front of the castle at Magic Kingdom with fireworks in the background. Something to make it feel like it was worth waiting. Damn near 6 years, because we're about to be together for 6 years come this July. So come July and there's no proposal, I'm gonna say no. If he ever asks. And if he doesn't ask, I guess I'm just his baby mama.
Now, the funny thing is, they say only black women don't know their worth. But unfortunately, this video clip is just another cautionary tale of the dragged out sunken cost placeholder fallacy, where yet another woman with low self-worth has regrettably given her power away, and now the only remaining superpower that she has left would be to take her 2 legs and to walk away, baby and all. But the question is, will she? Or will she just continue to make dry begging car videos and dropping subtle hints and miserably comparing herself to the other woman who is being fully provided for while she continues to be her man's 50-50 fool without being his wife? And I have talked about women being competitive and comparative when it comes to hypergamy since day one on this platform, because no woman wants to be a man's mule while witnessing another man creating a foundation for his wife and dream woman to have a space of provision, softness, relaxation, and leisure. And working women who see that will, of course, get hella jealous, no matter how many times you tell women to focus on the food that's on their own plates. A woman will always notice when she's getting the short end of the relationship stick, because at our hypergamous core, we intuitively know when we have made ourselves low-hanging fruit. And there is no worse feeling than realizing that you gave a man not only your precious time and your body, but that you also enabled him by going 50-50 without him ever having to get on bended knee. Ladies, there is so much power in knowing your worth up front. But unfortunately, when we see men as the prize, and when we believe men with our ears and not by watching their actions, we tend to give them our all while they tend to risk very little. And women end up in these dead end traps because they never had a feminine education. They were never taught about power dynamics in a relationship, and they were never taught to have standards. But wait, there's more.
See, the only reason that I'm comparing timelines is because when we first started dating, and I've said this already multiple times, my boyfriend stated, if we last a year, I want to start considering marriage. Okay, so that was his timeline, not mine. He wanted to talk about marriage after a year. So a year came and left and nothing. But his friend made the executive decision and said, I want to propose. Boom, he did it. I want to get married. Boom, he did it. But mine said, I want to start talking about marriage within a year. And he hasn't. The 50-50 part, like, I don't care. I don't care to pay 50-50. Like, I don't mind that. But even my friend was surprised at how much responsibility his friend takes. And I'm like, okay, so your boy's willing to step up and do all that, and you're surprised that his girl doesn't have to pay for anything, but I'm here riding with you, and like, I got your back, and everything doesn't fall on you. All that responsibility doesn't fall on you. So like, I'm looking at it like, don't you see that and think, this is a girl that really rides for me. She's been holding me down. Like, I should make her my wife, because if I don't have her, I don't know what kind of girl I'm gonna end up with. Because nowadays a lot of girls do want the man to provide everything, and if that's your situation, that's fine. My brother does that with his wife, and I fully support his decision. But at the same token, if she were like, oh, I want to go to work and I'll help you pay the bills, I fully support that too. Like, to each their own. So to those that say, oh, you must want the friend then, since you comparing them so much, like, man, I don't even know his friend. All I know is what my boyfriend tells me about his friend. I've never met him. I've only seen him in photos. Again, he's not my type. Seems like a good guy, but I don't look at it with jealousy, because I really don't know nothing about him, nothing about the relationship. I only brought it up because, like I said, my boyfriend said after a year, I want to talk about marriage. His boy got to it. He pays all the bills over there in that relationship. I'm over here holding him down, doing 50-50 like he wanted to. And like, I would think he would appreciate the fact that I'm willing to do that, and I'm not bitching at him over like, pay all my bills.
So now this woman not only has cornered herself into a brutal unmarried 50-50 dynamic with her baby daddy in this video, but she is obviously dry chasing by continuing to drop passive aggressive clues, hints, and subtle empty threats, and is low-key putting her desperation to be a wife on full display after sadly becoming her baby daddy's placeholder. 5 years unmarried, and now she's slowly starting to realize that she isn't her man's first choice, nor is she his last stop. But the lesson to learn here, ladies, is that when you have the baby before the wedding, this is what you risk. And you will absolutely lose your leverage to become a wife once the baby comes, because it was never your standard or your requirement to begin with. And more than likely, it was never this woman's standard, because she didn't see herself as the prize to be won. And now she's super pissed with herself because she settled, and she's trying to justify her pick-me-boo's worth because she took it upon herself to make his life financially easier by going 50-50, thinking that will make him want her more. Because like millions and millions of women around the world are groomed to do, she believed that going 50-50 would make him value her more. But instead, he's valuing her less because she doesn't understand how men think, nor does she understand the tricks the con, and the games that clowns will play when they see you as a placeholder. And now, sadly, this woman is now in a position where she is playing the desperado game of playing not to lose. But in all honesty, she needs to wake up and realize that the universe will always look out for your best interest, because her man is not husband material. And if you are not the one for a man, ladies, that means that he is not the one for you. And ladies, write this down. Stop trying to give your Dusty the paint by numbers instructions on how to treat you, and learn how to read the writing on the wall by developing your feminine intuition. Because at this point, her only solution is to stop the public venting, to throw her phone into the nearest river, and to stop giving her man the 50-50 princess treatment and the cookie, and to come up with a plan in motion to put the nail in the coffin by walking away. Ladies, men don't respond to our emotionalism. They respond to our actions, and they respond to our absence. And these are the tough lessons that all men will need to straighten up their spines. So that is all that I have to say on this for now. But to keep this conversation going, ladies, do you think that this woman will leave or stay? Should these two even bother to get married? And is it her fault for staying and having a baby? Or is it his fault for taking advantage and for dragging her for as long as possible? And as always, I thank you for listening, and I thank you for watching, and I thank you for sharing this video to further grow this womanhood platform. And please stay tuned for more case studies to come. And I will catch up with you ladies and lurkers and ear hustlers in the next one.
The sooner you learn this, the easier your life will feel. There's a beautiful thing that happens when you actually start to trust God. You stop forcing anything, and that is a good energy to be in. Oh, they canceled? You weren't meant to go there. Oh, you didn't get that job? You're gonna get a better job. Oh, that person didn't want to be with you? That's because there's something so much better out there for you. Oh, you don't fit in with them? Those are not your people. Oh, they didn't call you back? You were not meant to hear from them. Stop worrying about it. When you start to trust and you start living your life and you stop trying to force things,